It's probably too bright. It actually looks okay for now, but it's going to get worse. It's also a little saturated. Feeling more. I'm feeling more monochromatic today. It's probably because I lost Bernice's 50-50. I knew I would, because I built Lucy especially. I went and got the Bangbu especially. Like, I really wanted this character, and I got freaking Collider, or whatever her name is, Collider. She can collide with my fist. Bitch. Anyway, whatever. Let's work on our game instead. We don't need that stupid Zenla. We'll do better combat system than Zenla. So you ready? Alright, let's get started. So, alright, we really are starting from nothing, and I'm not really that familiar with this. I'm learning as we go. So welcome if you're here to sort of see how it's done. Haha, good luck. You might want to find somebody who knows what they're doing. Now we'll figure it out. It's basically just connecting animations together, right? So at the moment, let me just show you what we've got. I downloaded, just so we've got something to look at, I downloaded this like Backrooms asset thing, right, off Sketchfab. So all we have right now, let me just hit play. We have our mascot character here, which is Placilia. Ah! Okay, this happens if you turn a control. There you go. When you turn a controller on. Okay, so as you can see, she doesn't even have animation yet. She's just gliding along the floor. So what is this? So all we need to get this working is some geometry. Like I said, I downloaded the geometry off Sketchfab. It's like a little Backrooms thing. Just so we've got something to look at. Make sure you've got a floor. So all I did is I put a mesh collider, a box collider on the carpet, what was called carpet, which is obviously the floor, so that we don't fall through the earth. Then you want to get yourself over to starter assets. Now you have to Google this. It doesn't show up in Google in Unity registry. I don't know why. You want to look for third person controller starter assets, and this will take you to here, starter assets. Add that to my assets. It'll open up in Unity. Import it. You get a prefabs folder here, and you want nested parent capsule unpack. So what you do is you drag that into your scene. It adds a camera. You can see my folders left over from when I did it. Look, let's get rid of that. And if you open this up, you get a main camera. You get a player follow camera, a player capsule, which is where your player goes. If you don't care about mobile touch inputs, then you can get rid of that one there. That's that one. And just get rid of that. And you get a UI event system as well. So all you want to do is unpack the prefab. So right click, prefab, unpack completely, drag them into your scene, get rid of any existing cameras and everything, and you're good to go pretty much. All I did is I attached my character here. Where is she? I attached my character Placilia, there she is, on the player capsule for now. And we can neaten this up if we really want to, but it's just to get something working and moving in the scene so that we could start to patch things together. So I need to, I suppose we should probably start with her animations actually. I got myself an enemy here as well. You're going to need an enemy. So I got myself an enemy. Give me a second. Let me just save. Let me save this enemy so we can get him back. I don't want to do any enemy animations just yet. Yeah, enemy one, that's fine. And then we'll load Battle Dolls. I mean, this is the one that I used to make the previous animation, I guess. That's why it's called Anim. So we'll load this one. Okay, so this is just from the intro scene. From the login screen, rather. So this is like an animation that she does. Oh, she's got a couple of different animations where she's like waving and shit. Asking you to log in, hurry up and log in kind of thing. Alright, so let me just remove all object animation, all scene animation. I thought there was a remove scene animation, isn't there? Settings. I thought there was a remove scene animation. Maybe not. There is somewhere. I don't see it. There's only her in the scene anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So all I'm doing is I'm resetting so that we've got some frames to work with, and make sure she's zeroed out. 0, 0. Actually, we've got a reset 0 out button right here. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. And then we've got this little cube on the floor, you'll see. Now that's useful for a number of reasons. Actually, I already put a walk animation in for her because she was supposed to do a walk animation on a login screen, but then it turned out... Coughing Sparkle, hello, how are you? It turned out that she was already close enough to the camera, so I didn't need to make a walk. So we should actually have a walk animation for her. If I go into my animations, models animation, yeah, it's the cute walk one, but I don't know if I want to use that to move the character. Okay, well, just to test, let's give her an animation controller. So we'll do animation controller, and we'll just call it character test 1 for now. Stick the character test of 1 animator. Animation controller. I can't type. Animator, there we go. Character test 1, there we go. There's our animation window. So for now, just because I want to see what that looks like, I'm just going to slap the cute walk into this animator, so it's the only animation, and this should automatically loop. Yes. Okay, I just want to see what that looks like for now. It's not playing. Okay, what's happening? Let's go to focused mode. Let's press play. Let's have a look to see if this animator is actually playing. Oh, I know why. So this prefab is actually not edited to what it needs to be. Wait, no, it is. Weird. There's the animation. It's not playing anything. What the bloody hell is going on? It's saying Genesis 8 female dot shape is missing, even though I'm looking at it right there. Yeah, I think it's because it... Okay, I think I'm right about that. So basically, hang on, here's what I need to do. I need to unpack that completely. These need to go into root, and then I need to get rid of Genesis 8 female. There we go. Then I'm going to make that a prefab again. Characters. I'm just going to rename this one to old, just in case we need it back. And I'm going to make a new one. There we go. And now it should play. There we go. Alright, let's just see what that looks like. To see if we need a new walk. I might want a different walk, you see, for actually moving around in the scene. Because this was... Oh, that is kind of funny, though. That is kind of funny. Yeah, that's alright, actually. I think that's okay. We want to mess with the speed a little bit. No, that works for me, actually. I think that's kind of cool. She's kind of a joke character anyway, because she's like tutorials character. So it's not like this doesn't need to be like the most amazing thing anyone's ever seen. Yeah, as you can see, she's moving way too quickly. So we can fine tune that. So the nice thing about the character controller, so she's walking, her animation is having her walk a lot slower than she actually moves in the scene with. So if you go over to the player capsule, you'll notice you've got some settings here. Move speed. So if we change move speed to 1, that's a little too slow, but you'll see she's now moving at 1/4 the speed that she was. So obviously what you can do is you can just tweak that. So I feel like 3's probably about right. So let's try move speed 3. Yeah, I think that's about right. And we can add like a sprint or whatever. Maybe it's a little fast. Maybe it's a little fast. Because her feet still kind of skate along the floor like faster than her animation. Of course, we could just speed her animation up. If we go into the animator, Let me see. So speed is currently set to 1, so we could do like 1.5 speed. I think that's too fast. Let's try 1.3. 1.3. Yeah, that feels good to me. It's like whatever you think feels good, right? Whatever you think feels good. I think that feels good to me. So I want an animation speed of 1.3 and a move speed of 3. Okay, so come out of play. Those won't stick. Oh, actually, the animated does. Interesting. But the play capture one won't, because anything you change in the inspector whilst running is temporary. Here we go. Are you hyped? I'm scared. I've never done a successful combat system before, so this'll be interesting. Okay, so what's the first thing we need? The first thing we need is an animation controller. I mean, obviously we get an animation controller in Unity, but we need to actually make it work. So this would be my advice, is to create a new parameter and call it, this is how I do it, call it state. So we're essentially going to give this a state machine driver, a state index driver. So what does that mean? It means we can send state numbers to the animator, and we can say state 0 is idle, state 1 is walking, state 2 is sprint. And the reason this is useful is, rather than just play the animation, is we can make use of these things here, which are animation transitions. So we've got our walk. Do we have an idle animation for her? No, not right now. Okay, so let's go make an idle animation for her. So iClone has these interesting little useful tools, motion puppet, and we get some kind of defaults here. So we've got like female, hands on hip. That's fine, I guess. Looks like she's kind of being a bit impatient, so that's pretty good. There's one called natural. I meant to preview, not record. Which is kind of similar, except the hands are a little bit more in front. Yeah, that's fine. I think either of these are fine. There's one called sexy, but we don't want sexy because she's like, you know, she's a kid mascot character, so we're not going for Kuma bait. Not today. So I think natural was my favourite, so I'll speed it up a little bit. Now, don't worry about things like clipping and stuff, because you'll notice, let me just record that. You'll notice the hands are sort of clipping into the apron there, because her arms aren't quite lined up, but we're going to fix that. I never did a Unity before, so everything you do today will impress me. Yeah, it takes time, so we're just, you know, there's no hurry. It's just getting things right, isn't it? And of course, like, I'm pretty fast now when I know what I'm doing. But if I don't know what I'm doing, it can take quite a while. It could take quite a few iterations. Her hands are okay there, but they are clipping into her apron a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust the shoulders. So if I go to edit motion layer, I'm just going to bring these arms out a little bit so that they're not clipping against the body. And then if we play it, yeah, they're still kind of phasing into the body there. Did you see? She looks pregnant now. You fatty! She's been eating too many cakes. Says me. Says me! Oh my god. Right, anyway. Because I'm feeling lazy, I'm just going to pull it a little bit further away from the body. And use that as like an origin point, and then hopefully the rest of it should line up better. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, now our hands don't phase into her body, which is quite nice. Alright, so she's kind of got like a natural, just, you know, stood there and swinging her arms around. So we want that animation for her. The first thing I need to do actually is get that model into 3D Exchange. She looks weird as like a 3D model. Like when you don't have the toon shader stuff, it looks really, really strange. Okay. And then it's finding like a nice loop for it basically. So this animation should actually loop, but it's sort of like figuring out when and where it loops. Now that's what this box is for, actually, for like walk cycles and stuff. So what I do is I line the box up with the back of the foot, then I let it loop, and then I know when the foot gets back to the back of that box, I know that that's going to make a perfect loop animation. So that's why I do that. So we can see her hands are sort of like down in front of her belly. What you can do is you can cheat a little bit. If you're worried about it looping, there's a trick you can do. Okay, so somewhere around here, but if we loop that now, it probably wouldn't loop perfectly. She'd probably jitter from the first frame to the last frame, but here's a trick you can do. So what you can do, if we go down to her timeline, you can do it in this software. I'm not sure about any other softwares. We can break this animation there and get rid of the end of the clip. So what we've got now, if we zoom out, is we've got that animation as one clip. And then you can transition it back onto itself. So if you copy the clip and put it back at the end of the clip, right? Then we know that at this frame here, zoom in, if you click this clip, you get this little thing here as the transition. So what it's going to do is it's going to fade the end of this clip to the start of the clip again. So you know that on this frame here, which is frame 478, you know that on frame 478, the animation is going to be back to where it started. So that's a nice trick to be able to loop it sort of seamlessly. So even if the pose doesn't line up at the end here, by transitioning back to the beginning, it will sort of line up. And if we want to check that, we can actually let's set it to 478. Where is the length? There it is. And then if we hit loop, we can press play, and it should loop perfectly now. Look at that. You didn't even see when it happened, did you? Perfect. So that's a neat trick. A really neat trick. I really like that one. So we're just going to fit to window, and we're going to drag this clip and stick it into our 3D Exchange so that we get the animation. And we're going to add it to one of her performances. Add to perform. I'm going to call this one idle. So she's got to walk. We're going to do an idle. She's going to need some fighting and battle animations and whatnot. She might need a sprint. Let's give her a sprint so we can make a sprint. Alright, so if we go back to frame 0, probably a good idea as well to save these just in case I need them back. So we've got idle, Placilia idle, and then reset object animation and go to motion puppets. And again, we have some nice little sort of presets here we can use from iClone. So we've got basic walk, cute walk, which is the one I used before. We've got basic run, female. So this is probably what we want. So if we preview it, there we go. I want to speed it up a little bit. It feels a bit slow to me. We can record that. Right, and then here's another trick you can do if you want to loop animations using... I'm sorry! Jesus. Rag and Bowman. Okay, so this is what this little cube's for, as I was saying before. So if we watch the animation now, we can see that left foot is coming forward. And then that foot there comes back. So that's a good place to start the animation from, because as this foot comes back, we can line it up with the cube basically. So if I just move my beginning of the animation to that frame there, using that little tool there. Right, that was one frame too early. One frame later. Ah. There, is that it? Yes. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that box. We're on it now. And I'm going to move the box. I'm just going to line it up with the heel of the foot. Make sure that box doesn't move. Remove object animation. So that I can see her run. And we can use the box as a reference point. So we've got the right foot comes forward. So it's not this one because this is the other foot. So let that foot come forward, and as this one comes back again, as it lines up with the box, it was on the first frame that it moves back, wasn't it? So it should be here. Should be a last frame. So frame 69 should be our last frame. Oh, yeah, isn't that convenient? Frame 69. Of course it would be frame 69. I should have known that. Okay, and then if we loop this now, there you go. It looks like it jitters a little bit, but I think that's iClone's fault. When iClone replays the animation, it has a little bit of a pause, but it should look fine in Unity. As long as it looks like it doesn't jitter physically, if that makes sense. Don't worry about the pacing and the speed of it because it'll fix itself in Unity. So I'm just going to zoom in so we can grab that. Obviously we want to go from here to here. And we don't want the box, we want our character. So let's make sure we've got our character selected. Placelia. There's Placelia. And we want this frame to this frame. And this one is going to be a run animation. So there we go. She does jitter a little bit. It's probably fine. It's probably fine. Okay, so sprint, we'll call this one. So now she's got an idle and she's got a sprint. Frame 69. Nice. I know it's typical, isn't it? Alright, so we've got some... Oh, let me save that actually. Just in case I need it back. So we've got Placelia. Sprint. Zoom out. Remove any existing animation. Let's get some frames back so we've got something to work with. So let's do, I don't know, 969 for now. Just to add a 9 to it. Alright, let's have a look. So I'm looking for... So I've got all kinds of animations here that I've bought over the years. And I'm not really much of an animator. You could make your own animations if you're good at it. But for now I'm just kind of getting some, you know, some ideas together. Sort of just testing things. So I'm just going to use a preset thing if I've got something I should do. If I look through my motions... I think that's weird dancing. Yeah, that's dancing. Adventure movies. Combat. Let's see, what have we got? Can we get the list view? I can read it. How do I change it to a list view? Change view mode. That made it even worse. There we go. Now I can read them. Attack with torch, attacked from behind, backflip, cannot find weapon, flip, punch. Now I wanted to give her like a sword, I think. I don't know, the punch could be fun though. Let's see the punch. That's quite funny actually. Could she be a brawler? Could she be a brawler? It's kind of funny if she is actually. Again, we can just try different things, see what feels good, right? Yeah, punch it. Maybe she's a puncher and a kicker for now. I was going to give her a sword, but this might be funnier actually. Okay, so she's got a punch attack. I like that. She kind of hesitates for a bit, so I think I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. Yeah, start from about there. Say frame 45. And she comes back to sort of where she started at about here. Frame 186. Alright. So we could do this as like a basic attack. So let's add this motion. That's the wrong one. Not that one. That one. There we go. Oh, I can't wait to try this. It's going to be so funny. Okay, so we could do like... Let's just call it attack 1. Alright. And then is there like some kind of kick she can do for a stronger attack? Yeah, there's a kick here. Let's see it. It's like she's playing football or something. Here, have the ball back. Here, mate. You lost. Here, mate. You lost your ball. Do you want it back? There you go. That does not look like an aggressive kick. It's like she's kicking him in the... I think we all know where she's kicking him. I mean, it'll do if there's nothing better. Let me just search for kick, see if there's something a bit more... It's got a bit more oomph, you know? I felt like it was lacking, and that's the only one we've got. It's that or nothing. No, we must have some martial arts, like... There must be other stuff. I refuse to believe that that's the best kick that I have. It could be like a drop kick or something. I know I've got martial arts moves in here somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. Explosive berserker fighter block. Oh, here we got high kick. I guess it's high kick. Let's see it. Whoa, where'd she go? Okay, I don't know where that put her. She's off on another planet right now. Okay, these might... She is zeroed out, right? Yeah, she's zeroed out. Where the frick? So she's all the way up there. It's probably because it's like motion capture data, and the motion capture data wasn't like... Female fighter. High kick. That does not look like motion capture data at all. There's no way that is motion capture data. Alright, let's not use that one. May I ask some questions? In Nikke, when you see shield skill, it should be like just some effect, right? But sometimes it's stuck, so it's actually an object. Am I understanding this correctly? I haven't played Nikke in ages. Shield. God, I play that game on autopilot, to be honest. I don't really know that much about its mechanics. Yeah, I normally stick my strongest units on and then just autopilot through it. And if I'm being completely honest, I barely know what any of my team members do, to be honest. I use Modernia. She's my favourite DPS. I know she has a great spread thing, and she like shoots a million things at once. And I know I use Bunny Alice now as my healer, and she sort of lets somebody else do another skill 1. I know very little about the mechanics of that game, to be honest. I just kind of autopilot everything. But, yeah, I mean, shield sounds like... Who do I use as shield? I used to use Senti, I think her name was. And now I use... I've forgotten her name now. White-haired girl who puts castles in the sky and stuff. She's dead weird. Yeah, I think she's my shield now. But yeah, I think it literally just gives you like a certain amount of damage, right, that you can absorb before you start taking damage. But when I start failing at Nikke, it's not because I'm dying, it's because I'm not hitting the damage ceiling. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. I was asking about the developers side, which use Unity. Yeah, I know the game runs in Unity, but you know, just because it uses Unity, you can make anything in Unity. Do you know what I mean? It's like somewhat looks like a bug, but I want to understand it better in the developer perspective. Yeah, well, I mean, long story short, it could work any way they wanted it to work. It depends on what they decided to go for. You can make, it's up to you as the coder what you want it to do. So yeah, it all depends on what the developers wanted to go for. So I would normally start by reading characters' skills and seeing what's supposed to happen. And then if something looks like it's not working, you could always reach out to their support. Because I know they do bug fixes every now and again. It's not things don't always work the way they're meant to the first time around. High kick. Right, do we have any other kicks? F log, F run. Okay, so I think I was searching in that specific folder. So if I search for kick here, do we get all of our kicks? Do we get our kicks? It's time to get our kicks on Route 66. Yeah, it's not something I know that much about, to be honest. It's funny because I was thinking about this last night, actually. Because, like, there's a guy who watches the stream regularly called Pika, and he, like, I think his brain just works different than mine. Like, he's always quoting, like, stage numbers at me. It's always like, update 1.8.6.2.7.8.1. And then, the full quest title of the thing that he's doing. And, like, I'm not paying attention to any of that stuff. Like, I just play the game. Do you know what I mean? And my experience is my experience. Like, I don't sit there and think, oh, this is patch 8.7. Like, I don't, like, it's just fucking numbers. Who cares? I just think the latest patch, you know what I mean? Fontaine, Natlan, whatever, you know what I mean? And I think that's how most people do. But I think maybe, everyone's brain works differently, right? I think his brain just sort of, like, is good at remembering, like, names of things, numbers, things like that. So he's always saying, like, oh, how do you feel about patch 8.7.2.6, the rainbow in the back of the unicorn's ass meets the wandering cloud scenario quest. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what that patch is. I don't know what the quest is. And, like, I finally noticed that one of the quests I completed last night in Genshin had this rainbow title in it that he's been talking about. But I'm like, okay, I wouldn't have even known that. Like, I'm not looking at quest titles, you know what I mean? I'm just playing through the game. Yeah, so, but then I realized that I don't really, other than my sort of preliminary experience that I have, I'm not really sort of looking too deeply at things a lot of the time. But I think some people are sort of more into that. Right, so these were the ones where he started way up. We've got low cake. What's this one? That looks awful. Who made these animations? Even I could do better than that. It doesn't even look like a kick. It's happening too quickly. Oh, that one's much more aggressive though than the other one. Yeah, that one's much more aggressive. You could imagine some pushback to that as well, like you sort of knock the enemy flying. And you'd probably want to put a cooldown on that skill, maybe. Like, this would be like a heavy attack. I would have preferred a little jump to go with it though. I guess maybe we could add a jump. Let's see if we could add a jump. If we start her there, and then as she kicks, move her up, and then let her land back down again. There. She wants to be down to 0. There. What does that look like? Didn't really look like she jumped. Maybe it wasn't high enough. Yeah, she takes too long to come back down to the ground. I think that's the problem. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Now it looks like she kind of jumps as she kicks. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't think it's a perfect animation, but again, we're just kind of putting things together for now. Let's see how that goes. Oh, I've done the wrong one again. So this one, attack 2. And she's going to need an ultimate animation, but that's going to be a whole other thing, to be honest. I don't know, because she's probably going to be a 4-star. So maybe we don't do ultimate animations for 4 stars. Butt kick. What the heck is a butt kick? Probably kicking some butt, I would think. Yeah, also, didn't she get turned around in a weird position? Oh, I need to check that, actually. Because I think she's facing... Yeah, she's facing that way, and then suddenly when she kicks, she faces a different way, so I might need to correct that. Otherwise, she's going to rotate and kick off to the side. Like, she punches this way, right? If you follow this line here. But this kick animation, like, she's not... She doesn't kick along this line here. Let's get that animation back. I need to fix that. Yeah, okay, so... is she actually rotated, though? No, but that's because of how the animation system works. So the animation registers it. It's like the animation rotates the object without the object being rotated in its own physical space, if that makes sense. Which probably means I can't use that animation. Because it's gonna unalign everything too much. And to be fair, like whoever makes these things, they should know this stuff. So really, they're making animations that kind of break everything. This is why you always zero out. That's what this button's for, right? If you don't zero out... So what zero out means is you start from like an origin point of 0, 0, 0. Because the way animations work, right? You could walk her 100 meters forward as an animation, or you could teleport her 100 meters forward, and she will teleport 100 meters forward. So if you have your character at 0, 0, 0, and your animation plays at 100 meters forward, she will animate at 100 meters forward from wherever she was. So that's why all animations need to be zeroed out, so that you're saying, okay, the animation must start from the point of origin. So even if she walks away from her point of origin, it's relative to wherever she is in, at the start frame. But that's the problem with this animation, is it does seem to be at 0 position, but the rotation's off. So now she like turns, so it's like she's not really properly zeroed out. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Oh, two-handed axe. Oh, these are the ones that I was thinking about. Yeah, I definitely want to do some of this stuff. Like sword animations and things like that. Fist flying kick, that sounds fun. Wow, that's dramatic. Fist jump kick. Fist whirlwind kick. If you're wondering why she's jumping up, that's the manual jumping up animation that I added here. That's why it looks weird. Yeah, I guess I could use one of those for like an ultimate, and I could just like add some camera transitions or whatever. Some like close-ups. Which one was the best? I think it was the second one that was the best. That would be great for an ultimate. Because what I would do, right, is this bit here, this should be where the camera gets. So let's say this is her ultimate, right? This is where the camera wants to get good and close, and she like looks at the camera like and you could do like a some kind of charge up, and then she like busts out the ult. And you do like some big massive impact effects or something like that. I think it'd be pretty cool. So I might want to hold that pose a little bit longer. Yeah, if I'm using this as an ult animation, I think I need to hold that pose a little bit longer. Not destroy it. What the hell happened? Eh? Wait, what? Okay, I don't know what happened last time. Right, so we can see that her action starts at around here. So we could break that clip, move it along a little bit, and then she'll just pause and hold it for a little bit longer. But it looks kind of unnatural, right? Because she doesn't move at all. So you might get away with, we might get away with like a little transition effect and just transition from here to here, but it's going to look a bit linear probably. But you can do that. That's what that is. So now she should, yeah, now she moves ever so slightly so she doesn't look dead. Yeah. Hold it a little bit longer. I think we'll get away with that. And we have access to morphs, which is like lip syncing and stuff like that. So what we could even do here is make her like say something. You know what I mean? So you know, like marches in I don't know if you play Star Rail, but like Star Rail has this like crouching tiger, white dragon, less carbs, and all this stuff, and then she does like her attack, like something like that. We could even implement something like that, where she actually has says some things in between. Is that the end? I think that's the end of the clip. Yeah, so the animation ends at 280. Let's call it 284 for now. So that we can fit to window. And it just gives us a better... There we go. So I'm going to call this ultimate. We still need an attack too, though, that doesn't rotate and like mess things up. So I'll save this one. Placilia ultimate. I didn't save the first attack, did I? Oh no, this is dead itchy. You disrespect. You disrespect my family, Bruce Lee. Oh my god, there must be like a high pollen count or something today. It is, oh my god, I can barely breathe. Actually, I think I've got some allergy tablets over there. I might want to take one. Give me a sec. Because I can barely breathe. My nose is itching me. It's probably like crazy high pollen count or something. Oh my god. Oh, that's so itchy as well. Oh, well, when that kicks in, I'll start feeling better. Right, okay, so I just need like a second attack now. I do want a kick. Kick, heal, alt, kick. Walking kick stones. We don't kick stones. What's this one? Oh, that one's pretty. That one's. I think that's better than the first one. It's got a bit more force behind it. So the only issue now is, so she ends up. Right. So we need to fix this animation, because if you look at where she ends up, so let's show you what I mean. So if we grab this cube here, so she starts at 0, 0, 0, but she ends up like one step forward. So the problem with that is there's only two ways to resolve that if we leave it as it is. So if we let's put this cube at 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, so we can see where 0, 0, 0 is. Yeah, 0, 0, 0 is right there. So she starts in the right place. She's at 0, 0, 0. But then if we look at where she ends up when she finishes, she's like all the way over here now. So what would happen in Unity is she would either teleport back to 0 at the end of the animation if we didn't use a transition, or if we used a transition, she would slide. She would just slide back to where that is. So the best thing to do is to actually edit the animation itself, because if we edit the animation itself, because there are some other things you can do. You can also basically say, look, reset root motion, which basically means she stays at 0, 0, 0, but just move all the body parts relative to whatever she moves, but she stays at 0, 0, 0. That is another way to do it. But sometimes that can have weird effects and it kind of ruins the animation sometimes because it just looks a bit weird. So a better thing to do is just to fix the animation. So if we look at when she actually steps forward, we can grab that position. So we want to start by putting a keyframe in for 0, 0, 0. So I'm just going to move her forward and then move her back. The only reason I'm doing that is so that we get a keyframe for it. And then as she moves, so that's her doing the kick forward. So now we want to kind of subtly do the same thing again. So we've got a keyframe for 0, 0, 0. And now between here and where she lands, we want to sort of subtly put it back to the beginning. But it might look too much like she slides, so we might want to disguise it a little bit. So as she puts her foot down, that might be a nice distraction and a good time to sort of put her back closer to where she should be. She's still way too far forward. Right, so now she's back kind of roughly where she wants to be. Yeah, kind of. But yeah, you see what happens. You saw her just slide, her foot just slides, it looks weird. Yeah, so we need to disguise that a little bit better. So I think what I might do to cheat is I might just make a jump. Or I might want to bend her legs a little bit so she looks like she actually jumps. So if I just literally move her up there, let's just see what that looks like. It'll be less obvious. It'll look more like she jumps. Yeah, see what I mean? Oh, it still looks shit, but we're going to do what we can. But it looks less sus than her sliding back. Right, but we need to make it look more like she actually jumps. Because at the moment she just kind of... She magically flies up without moving anything to make it look like she jumps. So if I want to make a jump from here, I need to get her body parts. And like, I think what I would do is... Which one? That's the leg, right. body part. I need to put a keyframe a few frames before, which is wherever it is now, which is there. So I'm just gonna. It's gonna have to be a full body, I think. Yeah. Okay. Now let it come forward, and I'm just gonna crouch this down, so she looks like she's about to spring up. So as she comes up, now we want to reset that. Ooh, that's fucked everything up. Ah! How do I bring that back now? It's kind of fucked the joints up now. I guess I got to get the foot and stretch the foot down, I think. Yeah, I think that's what I've got to do. Let's see what that looks like. Probably looks shit. Oh, she ended up... What? How did she end up rotated? I don't know, but she did. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. This is why I don't animate. If I can help it. Let's find a different animation. It's a shame because that one would have been good if I could have just... If they'd have just made her start back where she... The only other thing that might fix it... So let's get rid of these keyframes. We could always put the animation back in from... Yeah, she gets... I don't know how she gets messed up like that, but she does. Let's put the animation back in. It's this one. Another thing we might be able to do is just subtly make it like more, make it more gradual, right? So like, let's just see what it looks like if we start her at 0, 0, 0. And then we apply whatever correction needs to be applied over the length of the animation so that it's like less movement from frame to frame. Sometimes you can get away with that, but I think it's going to look weird. Now that looks less weird actually than I thought it would. So you can see what's happening, right? She almost does a Michael Jackson moonwalk. She starts sliding back, but then she steps back to where she's supposed to be. But actually that's really not too bad, and I think if we just break that motion up so that it's less linear. So the first thing I notice is the most noticeable thing that looks weird is she starts sliding back before she even moves. So what I would probably want to do is put that back at 0, 0, 0 and have the slide start here. So all of this stays where, like at the beginning. So instead now we're just transitioning from here to here. Let's see what that looks like. That's not actually too bad. It's better than the other one. But yeah, I mean, she still kind of looks like she's on an escalator a little bit. But like, yeah, I mean... There's not really a lot I can do about it. To be completely honest, that's probably what it would look like if we used root motion anywhere. Because that's how it would sort of line itself back up. It's because it's either motion capture, and so the actor actually did end up like stepping forward at the end, or it was animated to just end like that, which is not ideal for video games. I think we'll get away with that, you know. I think we'll get away with it. Dang, now I feel invested in your character. I want to voice her so bad. Oh man, that would be great. I need voices. That would be so good. Well, she's gonna be like the main mascot anyway. So she's actually gonna be the tutorial girl. So you know when you have like, and it would be cool if that was voiced actually. You know, when it's like you press this to do normal attack, press this to block, press this to, yeah. So she's going to be like the player's first introduction to the game. So she's probably going to have a lot more lines than the average character. Okay, it's, you know what, it's good enough. It's good enough for now. It's good enough for now. Okay, so I'm going to call this attack 2, and then I think we've got all the animations we need for her for now. Attack 2. Alright, let's do it. Let's get it out. Ooh, get it out. What are you getting out? You're getting the animations out. Okay, so models character, I'm just going to call this Placilia Anims 2, because I think we already have an Anims, which I can get rid of now. Include animation, 60 FPS. Let's go. Right, so we don't need the model because we've already got the model, but we're just going to nick the animations out of it. Which software? Do you mean what I'm using now? Yeah, so this is called iClone. But for the characters, I use this one called Daz Studio. I've spent tons of money in these things over the years, but because I'm not much of a 3D modeler, they're really good to sort of just get things out quickly, and you know, you get a lot of, especially if you've spent a lot of money like I have over the years, you know, you can have lots of different shapes and presets and hairstyles and clothing and whatever you need really. But if you're getting into it from, you know, ground zero, it does get quite expensive. But I've been at this for so long now. Yeah, like 12 years, 12 plus years. Yeah, I've amassed quite the collection over the years. But yeah, if you're in it for the long term, I think it's fine because you build these things up bit by bit. So what I've typically done is just bought things as and when I've needed them, and I think I've gotten to the point now where I rarely have to buy anything because I likely already have it or something that I can use. But it does take time to get there and money. But yeah, I think it's worth it. Alright, so we can get those animations out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to models. It should be Placilia Anims 2. There it is. Okay, so we've got there's our attack 1, there's our attack 2. There's our idol. And I think there's one more, isn't there? There's our ultimate. So I'm going to press, I've held down control, selected those. I'm going to press control and D to duplicate those. And they will now appear in this root folder, I think. Yeah, they're still highlighted. But I like to just stick them in my own little folder. There, animation. Check to see if they need to be looped. Attack dozens. And if we go into our animator, we need to tell our animator about them. So at the moment, our animator knows about Cute Walk. So we need to definitely teach it about idle. And this needs to become the new layer default. So remember when we made our state driver? Well, state 0 is going to be idle. So this is now our default. Cute Walk is now an animation we can transition to. So is attack. So is attack 2. So we're just dragging these animations in. And we want our ultimate as well. Okay, so now we can sort of change between these different animation states. But we need to tell the program about, tell the animator about them. So this is where things get spidery. Are you ready? Spidery, spidery. Right. So we can transition from idle. Oh, there's a sprint as well, isn't there? There should be a sprint. Did I forget to copy it? I think I did. I need my sprint. Where's my sprint? Where is my sprint? Sprinty sprint. There it is. Yep, I did forget my sprint. There it is. Sprint is a looping animation. So let me set that up. There we go. Loop, sprint. Okay, looking good. Right, so we can idle. So first of all, let's get motion out the way. So I like to separate them into like what they do, right? So these are all attacks. So let's put the attacks at the bottom. And these are all traversal, right? And let's put the traversal at the top. And like idle's the very, very top. So we can go from, we should be able to go from idle to walk, from walk to sprint, from sprint back to idle, from sprint back to walk, from walk back to idle, and from sprint back to idle. I already had that one, I think. What I didn't have is idle to sprint. Yeah, we can idle to sprint. There shouldn't be two of those. There we go. Right. So it makes like this weird little double triangle. So you might be thinking, well, what the hell are you doing? Well, this is how it works. So basically, we tell it everything that points back to idle right now, and there should be two. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there should be two lines going into idle. So either sprint or cute walk can go back to idle. But also, we might as well do these as well while we're at it. Since we're doing our transitions back to idle, I'm going to point all of these at it as well, because I know that after an attack we can go reset back to idle. So now what I should have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different transitions that can all return back to idle. And the condition under here that we want to add is that state would equal 0. This here has exit time. What this means is wait for the animation to finish before transitioning back to idle. Now for traversal, we want this to be no. For attacks, we want it to be yes. So they're all yes by default anyway, so I'm just going to turn it off for sprint and turn it off for walk. And the reason why is when you stop walking and you stop moving, you want it to reflect straight away, right? The character should stop straight away as soon as you let go of the analog stick. So that's why it doesn't need exit time. For an attack, you want to make sure the full animation plays, right? So we're not holding down the attack button, we just press it and then it triggers. So it's basically about, do you need it to have time to finish playing the animation or not? Okay, so that's state 0, which is idle. So then we're going to say we go into walk when state becomes 1. Now we could be like a little bit smarter about this if we really wanted to. We could have like move state and then like attack state. Yeah, you know what? I don't normally do it like that, but let's do that because I think that's smart, right? So we'll call this move state. So I'm going to set up a new int and I'm going to call it attack state. Because if we do two separate layers like that, what it means is we can attack while moving. But if we make it one dimension and we say, okay, there's one state that controls it all, then it means if you go from walk to attack, it will go from walk to attack, right? You can only be walking or attacking. You can't be walking and attacking. But if we do separate layers, we could be walking and attacking. However, having said that, we don't have diverse enough animations for that. But if we did. Okay, so these three then want to also say that attack state also wants to equal 0. And then for, okay, so we can go from idle to ultimate, idle to attack 1, idle to attack 2. Let's move these out of the way so I can see them. So idle to attack 1 wants to be condition attack state equals 1, no exit time. But on the way back, we do want exit time. Same for this. We'll say state equals 2, no exit time. Attack state equals 2, and then make sure it's got exit time on the way back. And then for this one, ultimate, we'll say no exit time, attack state equals 3. Alrighty, so what do we do with all this? Glad you didn't ask. Okay. So there are many different ways to solve this. Let me just show something though that really helps out. Play and focused. If we press play, and we go to the play capsule, you'll see this little thing here that says starter assets inputs. Now why is she walking? I'll tell you why, because idle's not set to be a loop. She looks like she's dancing. La di da 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 ba 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 ba. That's so amusing to me. Yeah, capsule's a bit too big as well. This is a collider, by the way, because it's the capsule that was set up for the starter asset capsule collider. That's so funny. Okay, let me fix that. So idle wants to be a loop, so that she loop idles. Let's just test these, check these animations again. So attack 1, not loop. Attack 2, not loop. Walk, loop, yes. Hands on hips, this was from the login screen, loop, yes. Idle, loop, yes. Login wave, loop, yes. Sprint, loop, yes. Ultimate, not loop. Yeah, that should be right now. Okay, let me test it again. Alright. Oh, she's doing it again. Why is she doing that? So it's transitioning to and from cute walk and sprint. So we can see what's happening there. It's going from walk to sprint, walk to sprint. We can see our states are obviously still set to 0 because we haven't done anything with those yet. So something's wrong with our transitional logic. Alright, let me just check it. Why is that happening? Okay, we've got no condition on this. Oh, okay, I think I know why. So I always forget that you can multiple select transitions and then you can put conditions in, but they don't actually apply to them all. So you have to do these manually, and I always forget. Yeah, so none of these conditions actually went in. Ultimate once exit time. So basically just click every single one of these and make sure they have conditions associated with them. Yeah, none of these have gone in. God damn it. It's probably also because I changed the name. Yeah, actually it might be because I changed the name of the state, you know. So walk is state 1. Yeah? State 1.
When I filled.
Right, mute this. Right, sorry about that. Right, so where was I? Checking these conditions. Right, so move state equals 1 when we go back to cute walk. Move state is 0 when we go back to idle. 0 when we go back to idle. 2 when we go into sprint. Here we go, this one's also 2. Move state equals 2 when we go into sprint. Okay, that one goes to... Oh, yes, this is going to start fucking around now. Right, attack state equals 3 for ultimate. Attack state equals 0 to go back to idle. Attack state equals 1 for attack 1. I don't think we need the move state condition for that, because that's separate anywhere. Attack state equals 2 for attack 2, and this one wants to be attack state equals 0. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the ass to set up, but welcome back, thank you. Right, bit of a pain in the ass to set up, but you'll see why this is helpful in a bit. Okay, so let's make sure the transitions bounce around properly with our states set at 0. She should just stay in idle for now. And as she moves, she won't do anything because we haven't told it what to do yet. Yeah, but that's working correctly now. Okay, so what we basically need to do is detect what is the character doing so we know which animation to play. So one thing that's really useful with the starter assets thing is we have some information here on the starter assets input script. So if we look at this as we move around, it shows how much the character's moving. It's got a jump button, so if we press jump, I'm not actually going to let it jump though. Well, at least not yet. I haven't got a jump animation anywhere. So I'm going to disable that. But you'll see that jump becomes true. It ticks as we jump. There should be a sprint button, but I'm not sure what. There you go. It's L2, the default one. I'm going to change that as well. So if we're sprinting, we can see that sprint becomes true. So basically we can read these values to determine which animation should play. So we can detect when moving, when stationary, when sprinting, when not. Sprint, you've got to be careful though, because sprint, all that really does is tell you where the sprint's being pressed. Obviously we're not sprinting right now because we're not moving, but I'm holding the sprint button down. So we don't want to play the sprint animation purely based off of that, because she shouldn't be sprinting on the spot, right? So you have to kind of combine the logic between is sprint being held and is the character actually moving or not. Alright, so we basically can use that information to now drive the animation. Alright, so what do we do with all this? Well, we need a script. So if we go into scripts, game, wow, a first game script. So what we'll do, I'll just call it Placelia Anims for now. Error, a namespace cannot directly contain members such as fields, methods, or statements. Okay, that's because it doesn't like the minus sign. Underscore anims, I guess. There, are you happy? Little whinge bag. That's gonna torture me all fucking day now. Shut up! Oh my god. I have these speakers next to me and they like, if you fucking blink next to them, they just start buzzing like crazy and they won't fucking stop. No, to be fair, they're like fine, but my mum keeps the shoes in the wardrobe that they're hung on, so now she's set them off and it's just gonna fucking torture me all day long. Okay, well, that's gonna happen. That's my life. Just gotta deal with it. Right, whatever. It's just so fucking irritating because I'm trying to get on with this. Right, Placelia Anems. So we're gonna add that script to Placelia. Alright, so what do we need? We need a few things. So we've got two integer state drivers, right? One was move state and one was attack state. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make two public integers, one called move state and one called attack state. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to send these integers directly to the animator, and we can put the logic in here as to what changes them. So in a void update, we can say we want a private animator. Is it animator? Yeah. Animator. We can literally say animator set integer move state and same goes for attack state. And I know this looks kind of redundant, but there's a reason for it. Okay, what we also need is reference to the starter assets inputs. For that, I think we need using starter assets. I could do a public starter assets inputs. Okay. Right, so we can start to flesh some of this out. So move states, I'm just going to make a note that 0 is idle, 1 is walk, 2 is sprint, 0 is idle, 1 is attack 1, 2 is attack 2, 3 is ultimate. Alright. So we can say straight away if assets inputs dot move, and let's see what that is. Is that a vector 2? What is that? Is it? It is a vector 2. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so our first piece of logic is, look, if the character isn't moving, x and y both equal 0, then move state wants to become idle. Then we can do an else, and now we need to basically nest out walk and sprint. So we can say, so we already know now that when we fall into this else condition, if the player's holding down the sprint button but they're not actually moving, it's not going to play the sprint animation. Now this might not work as sophisticated as I would like, because there is, the weird thing about move is it's an analog input. So you can nudge, you could hold sprint and then just nudge the analog stick. So the character's not really sprinting at full speed, but you are holding sprint and the character is moving. So there's all kinds of ways around that. We could like measure velocity, we could measure how much is moving, all the rest of it. For now, I'm just going to say, look, if they're moving and sprint is held, then play the sprint animation, else play the walk animation and see how it looks for now. But yeah, there is a little bit of a discrepancy there where you technically the character could be in a sprint animation, but the player's kind of just edging them along a little bit. So we can say if assets move inputs to sprint, then move state equals 2. We can see from there. And then we can else this one to say move state equals 1. Alright, so let's test that because we don't have attack inputs set up yet. So we can't test those yet. Alright, so that should pretty much be... I'll put those at the top of here. There we go. And then everything's together for move and everything's together for attack. Alright, so we need to link that starter assets inputs to the animator. There it is. And alright, let's hit play. Null reference exception. Oh yes, I forgot to do something. Okay. I forgot to reference the animator. So I'm just going to make a void awake and I'm going to reference the animator. So animator equals get component animator. There we go. Alrighty. So she's in her idle animation. We're not doing anything. Good look around. As we move, nothing happens. Right, now you can see that move state is turning on to 1 in the inspector. So our move state is updating correctly. Oh wait, she did it now. Oh, you know what that is? Okay. I know what that is. That is has exit time is on. So if we look at idle to walk, there you go, told you. Let's make sure they're turned off. Yeah, all of these move ones want to be turned off, every single one of them. Yeah. I did that in when I think it's when I changed the name of the state, they all reset. Alright, so it is actually working, it just didn't look like it was working. Alright, so let's test it now. So as we move, it starts working. Stop, she stops. Move, stop, move, stop. We can sprint, and she goes into a sprint animation. Stop. Sprint to walk. There we go. It looks quite funny. Yeah, that all seems to be working fine. So all of her move animations are lining up with the controls now. And to get a better feel, because it's small, it's going to big mode just so I can get a feel for it. I can make a sprint a bit faster. I think I'll make a sprint a bit faster, and I might speed up that animation. Because she walks quite fast, because I kind of wanted her to walk quite fast. Yeah, I mean, aside from that, I think it's fine. So I'm gonna play the sprint at 1.5, go into our capsule controls, and I'm gonna make it so that, okay, this we have to edit code for actually. On sprint input, sprint is pressed. This is just a, this is literally just a state mirror. Okay, this isn't where the magic happens. This is where the magic happens. Oh, there we go. They already give us a control for it there, sprint speed. I don't have to edit code. They thought of everything. So let's try sprint speed 8 and see how that feels. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Sorry, Cappy, you got to leave early. We'll do more research about it. This is so fun to try. Good. Glad you're enjoying it. Thank you. Appreciate the feedback. Oh, that's much better. Oh, I like that. That feels much better. Much better. I like fast gameplay. Yeah, this is great. That feels really good. I will say her outlines are a bit too thick, so she looks a bit, at this distance, like she looks a bit crap with those big thick outlines. So I'm gonna change that. But for now, I'm just, you know, getting things working. Yeah, no, it feels really good actually. Genuinely feels really good. She will jump. The jump doesn't look bad actually, but she jumps too high, and I don't know if I want to let her jump. I could let her jump. There's no reason not to. But I think she jumps a bit too high. Yeah, that feels really good actually. Thank you so much for the lecture. Yeah, I mean, I do this every day because I just enjoy doing it, to be honest. But yeah, glad somebody's actually getting something out of it. It's really cool. Because normally I feel like I'm just sort of talking to myself. But I do it because, like, I think, well, if anybody can get anything out of it, you know what I mean, then... Because I've seen people, like, I've watched people solving problems like this before who have streamed stuff like this and, like, learned stuff from it. So it's like, you know... There's no harm. If I'm sat here doing it anyway, there's no harm in sort of explaining what I'm doing as I'm doing it. And it helps me get my head around it as well, right? By sort of explaining it out loud. So yeah, it's everybody wins. No downside. Alright, so as you probably guessed, now we need to set up some attacks. We've got our attack animations, we've got our attack states, but she doesn't actually attack because we don't have any attack inputs. Sure, we need to add some attacks, so we'll use this system because they've already set up like a start to it, right? Actually, where's that jump height? I will let her jump, but I'll just reduce it a little bit, I think. We can switch it off if we want, if it annoys us later. Where is jump height? There it is, jump height 1.2. Let's try 0.8. Let's quickly get a feel for that. Yeah, alright, give me a sec. Can't teleport to you. Alright, I gotta go. Give me a sec. Gotta jump right now.
No dogs just thing. There's a big like selection of biscuits, tea bags.
I probably saw your review.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the text went home in the same area. Would I like to talk to someone about it further?
Yeah.
And I just told you off more or less, you know.
Yeah.
That's it, I've said my piece now and that's it. But they haven't said it's from Dogs First, but they have my address on. And inside it has a card saying thank you. here are some of the dogs you've helped with your donation. So that's what it is from Dogs Trust. But they haven't said it's from them.
Yeah.
Crafty buggers, aren't they? They don't want to commit themselves, do they?
Yeah.
But that's who it's from, because... Yeah, look at it downstairs in the kitchen there.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of stuff right now. Right, okay, let's sort my camera out. For some reason it's bright again. Okay, so ba, 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 ba. No. Okay, so what I'm doing now is the third person character controller comes with a default input map, and an input map is basically a list of inputs and what they do, right? So we want to add inputs that do attacks, right? So we need to use an input map to do that. The reason I don't want to use the default input map that they give us is because I've already set my own up, number one, and also I've set up a system that lets players remap their own buttons the way that they want. So I need my system in place for that. So just so things don't get confusing, I want to actually get rid of that. Right, I want to get rid of that default actions. Right, there it is. Starter assets input settings. That's not an actual input map though. Okay, that's the input map. Okay, I see. Right, so we can have a look to see what they've set up. So they've got this one called player, and they've basically set WASD and left stick as move. Can I copy this action map? Yes. Can I paste it into mine? Because that would save me a little bit of time. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so I do want to merge this with context 1. So this was just an example. I'll just put dungeons as the context, I think. Because I'm trying to think what it will look like on the input mapper, and on the input mapper it'll say like, you know, dungeons and then whatever else we decide to add later. Okay, so these, let's make sure that all still works, because it's now using a different input map, but it's using the same mapping names, so it should just work one-to-one now using my input map. And it doesn't. Let's figure out why. Okay, it's stuck on default map UI nav dungeons. There we go. Let's just try that. Huh, interesting. I mean, it doesn't say anything about player map here. Wow, it's gonna be great there. What a great day. I don't know why this isn't working. Let's have a look at the third person character controller. Maybe that's referencing... Yes, okay. Well, I mean, it just says player though, right? I don't think that refers to the map necessarily. I literally can't do this with this fucking noise right now. Because it already asks you what your default input map is, so I would have thought it would be set up so you can use other maps, but there's obviously some things not connecting properly. This is the problem because none of this is my code. I'm not quite sure. Yeah?
Are you busy?
Yeah.
I'm going to sadly leave it for you. You can do your original.
I'm in the middle of stuff,
You'll
Mum.
have to do it another time. I've got plenty of shampoo anyway.
Yeah, I'll get round to it. Right, there's something about this that is not connecting. So this is our input action map. We said default map is dungeons, so it should be pulling it from here. They've all got the same input names in dungeons. But I'm convinced that it's still stuck on this default nav. I really don't know why it won't let me use my map. I usually use those anyway. Right, I'm really struggling to understand why it's not letting me use my footsteps audio clips. There's no footstep clips. What the hell? I mean, the camera shouldn't affect it. How bizarre. Okay, I'm definitely convinced that it's basically trying to read from the map. We could test this, right? So how can we test this? What we could do is, even though we told it we wanted to use dungeons as the default map, I think it's not actually applying. So we can test it by adding a move to this map, which I don't want it in this map. Can I just copy that? Excuse me. Because they've set it up as this like awkward thing. There's no paste option in here. Oh my god. So why does it let me copy it if I can't frickin' paste in it? Oh, there we go. Okay, save the asset. If it starts moving now, it means it's stuck in the wrong map, which is what I think is happening. Okay, I'm wrong. I am wrong. I'm glad to be wrong. Kind of. But this means there's a bigger problem at hand. Okay, we'll leave that in there for now just because... yeah. So because this just mirrors whatever the current input scheme is, then the fact that this isn't updating would suggest that it's not reading the input map right now. Because if it was, it would be updating as the inputs are being pressed, but it's not. Okay, it says there, leave supported devices empty if you want all devices to be supported. Well, we do want all devices to be supported. No reason not to. So we don't need to change anything in there. Ah! I don't understand why this won't work. Okay, so I'm just adding my system manager reference in because I just want to make sure that my controls enabled. My controls are enabled. Cannot be assigned to as read only. It should be enabled then. Enable. Yeah, I just want to make sure it is enabled first of all, because it might be that it's just not enabled. It feels like it's not enabled. Null reference. Oh, true. True. Yeah, we don't have our core components with us because we'd have to... That's kind of awkward. I guess for now then, rather than do it that way... I guess for now then I'll just do a public input action asset input as we'll enable it like that, and we'll hard reference it because I'm still convinced that input action asset is not enabled. Why aren't I seeing that? Am I being blind? It's because it had an error. Yeah, see, normally I wouldn't have to do all this because I don't normally have like a really fancy input system already to go, whereas now I do. So that's why this is confusing me, because normally I would start building on top of their like example or whatever, their input system. This is so fucking weird. So if I change it to theirs, oh wow, it just suddenly starts working. What? Make any fucking sense? I don't get it. Okay, that might be why. Because I haven't, hang on, let's come out of this because I don't know whether it's actually updating as it's running or not. It probably is. Maybe I have to actually assign a scheme to it first. Alright, let's try that. Let's try that. Something's not right. It's driving me nuts. There we go. Okay, it's because it didn't inherit... yeah, I suppose it wouldn't actually. It didn't inherit any schemes from it. Because we copied it from the other one. Yay! Right, that took way too long. Okay. So now I should be able to comfortably get rid of the... well, this should be fine. I wonder if also I probably don't need that reference now. I wouldn't have thought. Let me just test it. Yeah, okay, we're good. Good Lord! Alright, so we can finally move on to getting some attacks down. So we can get rid of that one now as well. We don't need that in there. It shouldn't be in there. We're in dungeons only. So we've got move, look, jump, and sprint. So we want to create a new attack, right? So we'll call it attack 1, and our binding can be whatever we want. I don't know. What would keyboard and mouse users use? I have no idea. F maybe? Now they use Q and E, don't they? Well, Genshin uses Q and E. And I think Q is basically R2, I think. Is that the elemental skill? Yeah, I think Q is the equivalent of R2 on the controller. And E is the equivalent of triangle on the controller, I think. Now, I know we're not Genshin, but like I need some kind of context to know what to set it to. Because I really don't play on keyboard and mouse, so I have no idea what would be a good idea. Now, we can let them rebind whatever buttons they want, I guess. True. So, let's do... I want square to be attack. On the gamepad. So, let's just set it to Q for now. And like I said, they can always change it themselves if they want. No, it's not a new action. It's a new binding, you bastard. A new binding. Okay, so then we say this one is keyboard and mouse. This one is controller. Okay. So we just added a new attack, a new input to our inputs. So now what we do, if we want to use this system, if we want to stick to the way they've done it, which I think we probably should. Okay, is... we can add an attack 1 bool here to say whether attack 1's being pressed. And then what we need to do is, it's similar to sprint. So when it says on sprint, we can do a public void on attack 1 input value attack 1 input value was pressed. So now we need an attack 1 input. New attack 1 state, new attack 1 state. So let's test, make sure that's working. So all we want to see is an attack 1 bool. You probably can't see, can you see that from my camera? Barely, it's right there. There you go. Boof. Right, now what you'll notice is attack 1 went true, but it's just stayed true, and now it's true forever. So we need to tell it that attack 1 is like a button press. Hang on. So then what makes jump reset itself then? Eh? So it works. See, I wouldn't normally do anything like this. I think it's kind of convoluted, to be honest. Because like we could just read the states directly in the animation state controller, which is the way I would normally do it, to be honest. But I thought, well, since we're making use of this for the animation controller for now, we should probably, you know, we should probably use this and just expand it. But what I'm not understanding is why jump resets itself to off. Right? Because, like, check it out, right? I might have to ask Jupity about this because I don't fully understand. So if we look at jump, right? When we jump flashes on very briefly, as it should, and then resets itself back to off. Because, it's a one-time only action. Attack wants to be the same as jump, but when I press attack just becomes true and it stays true forever. And that's the bit I'm not understanding. So what I'm doing is I'm comparing my code to the jump code, right? So we have our bool, which is jump. We have our bool, which is attack 1. We say on jump input value dot is pressed. We say the exact same thing for attack 1. On attack 1 input value attack 1 input dot value is pressed. And on jump input it says new jump state as a bool, jump equals new jump statement. So attack 1 we say new attack 1 state, attack 1 equals new attack 1 state. So I don't really know why jump is behaving differently in here to my attack, or vice versa. Let me have a look at the input map again, see if I'm missing something. So jump is a space key press and a button south key press. Attack 1 is a button west gamepad press and a KBM. There's nothing extra added in here. So it's not like there's nothing weird set up about it in the input map bindings. Ha! What it probably is, here's what I think it is if we look in the third person controller, when we do a jump, let's find out if I'm correct. When we actually jump, what we probably do is we recognize that the player wants to jump by reading that bool value. We perform the jump and then we reset the value in here. So the reason attack 1 isn't resetting is because we haven't like acted upon it yet, basically. That would be my guess. But let's find out. Jump and gravity. Animators, string to hash, jump. Yeah, we don't use any of this. I'm just going to get rid of this. We don't use their animation system. anything animation related, I'm just going to get rid of it. So I'm using my own custom system. Oh my god, there's so much animated stuff. There we go. Right, that's a bit more. Yep, that's a bit more trimmed down as well now. Okay, so jump. Jump. Jump height 1.2. Jump timeout. Jump timeout delta. Timeout delta. Jump and gravity. Here we go. If grounded. Input jump equals false. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Okay, so what they're basically doing is they're relying on the third person controller to determine whether the input should be reset or not. So we can do, basically we can do something similar in our Placilia animations. Okay, so essentially what we can do now for our first attack one is we can say if assets inputs dot attack one, then we want to basically do our attack and then reset the attack state. So we can say animator set integer, and this time we're doing the attack state and we're setting it to attack 1, which is 1. And then we want to say assets inputs attack 1 equals false. Now all this will do is play the attack animation, however. So this, we need to do like more sophisticated things when it comes to actually registering, like does the attack hit, damage, all that kind of stuff. But we'll get to that. For now we just want to make sure the animation is playing. Alright, so let's test that. Yeah, very slow. We definitely want to speed that up. It feels very, very sluggish and very slow. But as you can see, we press attack and we get an attack animation. So like essentially it's sort of working. Except I noticed we can't attack while moving either, because I guess the move state overrides the attack state. If we really wanted to make this function well, we would have... I don't even know how you would do that, actually. I think Mecanim probably has ways of dealing with that, but I don't use Mecanim. I use my own animation system because of how much money I've invested in it. I mean, first of all, it's way too slow, right? If you want a fast-paced combat game that wants to be like 10 times as fast, maybe? Okay, maybe not 10 times. 5 times? That feels much better. And then it's not as noticeable. But yeah, I think it needs to be the way around, right? Attack needs to override moving. Even if the feet animations stop, the player should attack whenever they press attack, even if they're moving. Whereas now if you're moving, you don't attack. Yeah, and remember when we did that slide thing to fix the position on her? You can see that actually it doesn't look bad at all. It's barely noticeable. Like, yeah, she moves, she sort of steps into the punch, but then it just kind of looks like she steps back again. So that actually worked out pretty good, actually, I would say. Yeah, she's a little slow to get off to it. So another thing I would probably want to do there is, if we look at the attack animation, there's too many frames where she's, I feel like it takes too long to get into it. Like, I think I would probably get rid of these frames here, actually. Because it doesn't feel very responsive enough right now. I feel like it takes too long to get. Oh, that does actually select everything all the way down. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you can speed tune these animations and things, which is something you're gonna want to do. Can I not just drag those frames? Yeah, it kind of just took a little while. Alright, how does that feel? Oh! Okay, that actually caused some... some strangeness. Okay, I guess we can't do it like that then. Right, so this is why we always... this is why we duplicate and back up our animations. So I need to get the original animation back now because I kind of fucked that one up. So if we go back to characters... not prefabs, the other one. This one. Our attack one we need to get back. There it is. Loop it. So I don't know if it will overwrite it. My only option is skip file or keep both, apparently. What if I want... No, I wanted to get rid of the other one. I ruined it for everyone. Okay, let me just delete that one. And then go back and put that one in there. It's not a loop. I don't know why I set it as a loop. And did that one replace that one? No, it lost it, so I need to put it back in. Boop, there we go. So it should be back to what it was. We need to be on Placelia to see it. God damn it. There. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I need a break. Yeah, I mean, it's not very satisfying right now. It just feels a little sluggish. But what it probably also is as well, actually, because the animation doesn't really take that long to get off. It's probably, if we look at, like, at the moment we can only go from idle into attack, and it's this as well, right? If we zoom into this, this is our transition time to get from idle into attack. What would be better is if we tighten that up. So we basically say, right, we actually want to go from idle into attack, like, quickly. Then we can tighten that up like that. And if we try it now, that should feel a lot more responsive. Yeah, that feels much better. Now I press the button and she feels like she actually does something. Yeah, so stuff like that, right? You could tighten up those transitions and it still looks good. Because if we were doing this for real, we'd want like lots of different various attack animations, and then we'd have combos, you know, so she goes from one attack into another attack into another attack. And we can do all that, but, you know, we need to start basic. But yeah, like, overall this feels pretty good. The worst part at the moment now is if I try and attack while walking, the walk overrides the attack. So that state change of attack doesn't appear to do anything, because we don't see the animation for it. Because I guess the walk animation is taking priority over the attack animation, but it would be better if it was the other way around. I think what I'll do, but then becomes the question of, like, okay, how do you stop, like, how do you show the character moving while attacking at the same time? Well, our systems don't currently support that because of the animation system I'm using and everything else. So what I would do to fix that is I will basically make it a rule in the code that says, okay, when a character is attacking, they stop. So you can essentially only attack from a stationary position, because that's all the animation supports for now. So essentially, if the player was pushing forward on the analog stick and was continually pressing attack, for the length of the attack animation, which is only like that, what is that, half a second, the character essentially stops walking forward for that period of time, and then they can resume when the attack's finished. Right, so it would kind of look something like that, because that's going to look a lot better than, well, we could test it, but I would think that would look a lot better than her just sliding along the floor with her legs still as she attacks. I mean, I don't know, again, it's quite quick, so maybe it wouldn't really look as bad as I think it would, but I think that would be a better solution, honestly. Alright, whilst I'm here, I'm going to do the same with the other attacks, even though we haven't set them up yet. Just want to make sure those transitions are, like, much faster and tighter. Ultimate doesn't matter, because Ultimate's like a showcase thing anyway. It wants to take its time with the Ultimate one. Alright. We're getting there, but I think I'm going to take a break. 12 noon exactly. But yeah, to summarize, the next stage would be obviously get the other animations in and the other inputs in. Make it so that when attack is pressed, the character stops. So we stop moving. Locomotion completely stops until the animation for the attack is finished. And then when everything looks good and, you know, it feels right walking around and punching and stuff, then we get an enemy in here. We do some basic attack animations. We do the same with the enemy. And then, only then, do we start trying to, like, you know, make it so these things can interact with each other. So attacks can hit the player and players' attacks can hit the enemy. Yeah, basically. Alright, I'll leave it there for now. I'm gonna take a break. So I might be back on later, we'll see. But hopefully that helps sort of get... I mean, I think that's pretty good, right? 2 hours and 20 minutes. So in 2 hours and 20 minutes, we can walk around the room, we can sprint around the room. We've got a custom attack. Got our own input system, our own animation system. We've got transitions for them all. That's not bad going, to be honest. Starting from nothing. But yeah, these things take time, so it is what it is. Alright, I'll leave it there and I'll be back maybe later today. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next one. Bye.